Hey guys, thanks for joining in. We are starting a few minutes late because Ribhu here had a bit of a video problem. That's all right. How you doing, man?
Yeah, good man. Just got back from Collingwood.
Oh yeah,
It's busy.
the Spartan race, right?
Yeah. So just jumping right in. So it was a good weekend. Cold. I
Cool.
never thought when I left Trinidad 12 years ago I'd be running in -2-degree weather, but here I am. So I survived.
Yeah, glad to see you're alive after that.
Yeah.
All right, man. So just to start off, this is something I wanted to kind of do is that we had a comment on our last video from and they were asking. They said if we can have some kind of dictionary feature that pops up and shows what jargon means. I don't nearly have nearly that production value to do that, but we can answer your question here about what we mean by builder grade because we did refer to that phrase quite a bit back
Mhm.
in our last video. So, do you want to answer this question? What does builder grade mean exactly?
Sure. So I mean, I think it's a pretty much a slang term, simplified to be the base package that you would get from a builder. So when you would buy a new home, you could get the basic package, the premium package, so on. So builder grade would be that basic. So they buy everything in bulk. Everything is clean, but everything is simple, same paint color, same trim, very consistent. Usually most economical option, which is why we like to use it a lot in our projects and that type of finish as well, but it's comparable to
Yeah,
new homes, so it's still pretty nice.
yeah. It's like if you see once you see enough homes that were built in the last 5 years, you realize the same materials keep on popping up over and over again. You
Yeah,
start recognizing it, even just at a quick glance. You're like, well, yeah, that's builder grade, right?
yeah,
Exactly. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Today we're gonna be analyzing two properties here, just to keep things interesting. We're gonna move a little bit faster than we've done before, just so we can have more properties and we'll get straight into it. The first one
yeah.
we're gonna look at today is gonna be an existing duplex, and it's something that's been on the market for a while. But I checked it; it's had some price changes recently, and is finally at a point where I think it makes a lot of sense as an investment. And the one we're doing afterwards is actually going to be a triplex conversion. So that's going to be really interesting because Ribhu here has experience with triplex conversions. So we'll
Oh,
want to hear what he has to say, and we're gonna kind of go over it just from an outsider and first glance and see what if it makes sense or not, right? To do a triplex
sounds good.
conversion here.
Cool,
Okay.
let's do it.
All right. So I hope you guys can see that okay. This is 8-10 St. Paul Street. It is currently listed at 539. It started much higher. They've had a few price decreases, and most recently, it's changed to 539. Um, as you can look at the photo, it's an older property. You can tell I think someone might have hit this with something at some point, but it's a property. It looks a little run down, but
Great location
where
though, man.
it is, and we'll talk about that in a bit. I'll pull up the
Yeah.
map. Actually, I have already opened up, but
Hmm.
looks are deceiving. Where real estate investors, the numbers are what really matters. So let's just have a quick look at this one here. So this property is currently fully occupied. You have unit 8 here and unit 10 here. They both have their own front door. It's effectively two semi-detached properties, right? If you think about it,
Nice.
and it is a corner lot. It looks like. So finishes inside, eh, basic, livable.
Yeah,
Something I would have rented after I graduated from school or while I was in school. Nothing crazy. Like
100%. There's a lot of space in it too, right? You got some pretty spacious
yeah.
units in
So
there, especially for what else is available on the market. So
because of how this is laid out, it's side by side duplex. Each person gets a second floor. And
hmm
while yes, we do recognize that with the roof line, you do lose a bit of headroom on the second floor, but it's not like if it's up and down duplex, then the guy who's living upstairs has to deal with the reduced headroom the
yeah,
whole way, right? So
yeah,
each
yeah.
person, as you can see here, has that reduced headroom on the sides of the second floor, but it's evenly shared between both units.
Nice.
Yeah, and it looks like they have their own washing machines. Very cool.
Oh, that's handy. Yeah,
Yeah, in good use
it's
of
good
the
that it's all
reduced
done,
headroom
right?
for.
It's good that it's done.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Okay, you
Yeah,
take
it looks
care of
like
the place
whoever's
pretty
living
well.
here, it's pretty clean.
Yeah.
And the heating is by electric baseboards, which will
Okay.
be very interesting as we see, because so there's separated meter for hydro
Okay.
and water, and that's what it
Okay.
looks
Yeah,
like.
that's
And I
good.
believe there's a driveway here, and I think there's a driveway over here. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, nice corner lot, eh?
Yeah, right here. So
Mhm.
I know you were mentioning about the neighborhood. So I'll pull up this map here. This is where it's at. You're gonna realize is that this area is pretty much kind of like the waterfront of Belleville, and there's some really nice homes being built in this area. So this is where
Okay, I
this
was just
property
gonna say
is.
you gotta do the street view because every time I tell
Yeah.
somebody about this, I don't think they understand what I mean.
Do you think the street view is updated yet with
Well,
the
so
really nice
actually,
home?
while you're on this view, so right across the street there's a bunch of really good
Oh, here.
um yeah the just to your left that plaza there before
Yeah.
we even get there, like just
Oh,
in
these ones.
there, RMT, the scuba club there is there. Like there's tons to do if you look right across the street to the right. I'm pretty sure that's where the boathouse to the right, your other right.
Yeah. And I think if you go a little bit further down, these are the townhomes, the really nice townhomes, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, and then you
I
start to get
believe
into
these are
some.
almost $1 million each. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and as you keep going, it's gonna get better and better, bigger and bigger
Yeah,
houses
yeah.
too.
So
And then it takes you right to the marina, right?
yeah,
And the
and the
yacht club
waterfront's right
and
there.
everything else. Yeah,
Yeah, let me see if I can drag myself further down.
yeah,
Yeah, and this is what it looks like further down the street.
yeah. It's
So
beautiful over there.
why are we mentioning this? Is because over here we're not too far away from that. In fact, you can see it just down the street. So
Mm,
the question becomes: this being a corner lot, you effectively have it's effectively two how does the person here? You effectively have two semi-detached properties. Could you maybe redevelop this and build one of those really nice properties up here? It might be a little challenging
yeah,
with the setbacks and things like that. And I think you were looking into the whether or not this meets the frontage requirements, right?
yeah. I think it's a little bit under, so we'd have to be at least a minor variance to get that done.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, anything is doable though, right? So
Yeah, it is just the fact that we can look at this property as a duplex as is, and you're going to find out. I believe this is a cash flow positive property with how much money this makes, and it's one of
yeah,
those things where, yeah, it makes money now, and it has the potential of making you a lot of money down the future as a development opportunity.
yeah. I mean,
So
just this location alone. Like, look
yeah,
across the street
look,
there. That's
there's
the
the water.
boathouse grill. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, like. So
Oh,
yeah,
it's right there. I didn't realize how
that's what
close
I
it was.
mean, man. Like boathouse is right across the street. That's what I was saying. It's an
Wow,
under
that's actually really
location,
close.
and like especially if it's cash flowing right off the bat, it'd be a sick one to kind of snipe up and just sit on, frankly, for a little bit till construction
Absolutely,
costs it down a bit. But yeah,
absolutely. So let's get into the numbers.
yeah,
So this property is listed at 539.
Mhm.
So put a little note here because otherwise I'd forget. So the one unit it's paying 1,800, the other one's paying 2,100. So quite a bit of money, right?
Whoa, yeah, that's sweet.
Are they both two beds? One unit features two bed and one bath, along with a fenced in yard. The other
Three
one
bed.
has a
It's a
three
three and a
bed.
two. Yes.
Okay, so I would imagine the three beds, the one paying 2,100, which is pretty close to
Yeah.
market, and 18 is pretty like in the shape the current property is. This is
I would
market
say
rent
that's
in my
probably what.
opinion.
Yeah, I would say that's market rent.
Yeah.
As of today, yeah. So you're solid. You're walking into market rent, which is good, especially right
So
now.
1,800 plus 2,100, right? 3,900
Yeah,
a month in income.
yeah,
Of course, you have your 2% vacancy allowance, and I put this in here. Tenant pays for their own water and hydro. The reason that's
yes,
important is that the heating is done by baseboards, so
yeah.
they are paying for the heat via the hydro directly. So
Okay, cool.
you as a landlord, you're not paying for any utilities.
Mhm.
Property taxes, what is that? 2,592. divided by 12. There's your property taxes. Insurance,
Mhm.
again, duplex around 150, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That makes
Would
sense.
you, due to the age of this property, would you account for a slightly higher repairs and maintenance reserve, more than 5% in this one?
Yeah, I would. It definitely
Yeah,
looks like there could be some unexpected stuff
maybe,
there, so I
maybe
just kind of
7.
protect myself. Yeah, 7 works. Just
Yeah,
to make
so
sure. I mean, if best case scenario, you don't need to use it and it just builds up a nice little pizza
yeah,
money.
you're putting away $273 a month in the way this for this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
We mentioned there's no utilities, right?
Yeah.
The tenants are paying for all the utilities and no condo fee because it's freehold. Property
Mhm.
management, we're allocating 6%.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Nice.
at 20% down,
Yep.
and we talked about this right now. We're talking at 6.5%
Yep. That's still
interest
fair.
rate. Yep, 30 amortization. This is your
Yeah.
mortgage payment, 2723.
Mhm.
With this accounted for and 3900. Oh yeah, land transfer tax. Land transfer tax calculator.
Oh, I can pull it up. Yeah, 539.9.
Okay. 7273. Should have done this earlier. Legal fees of 2000, inspection around 450, and you're not doing any renovations.
No.
Okay. So based on these numbers here that we put in, this property is actually cash flow positive, just over $200 a month at
Nice.
20% down. I think it's pretty good considering you're not doing anything to it at all, right?
No.
Hands
That's
off,
unreal.
buy it, give the keys to the property manager, call it a day, right? And you still be cash flow
Yeah.
positive. That's hard to. How long has this been on the market? Oh, actually, I'm gonna try this new feature. I can highlight a comment. Oh, sick. Okay. Joseph's asks, how
Oh,
long has this been on the
have we
market?
just wait? Sorry, did we just upgrade tech there?
This feature's always been here.
Okay.
But okay, how long has it been on? So it's actually been on the market for, I think it said over 122 days. Keep in
Yeah.
mind, it was priced much higher earlier, so that is not really a fair comparison. It's only been at this price for I think a week or two.
Gotcha.
So, opportunity to snag this up for a cash flow positive property, potentially.
Mhm.
Elliot says also water issues on that property might increase insurance,
Yeah, that's a good
like
point.
like flooding from
So,
the
yeah, so
water.
the
Right?
floodplains are close to that area. I don't
Okay.
believe, and I looked it up, I don't think we're in the floodplains for that, but we are close. So that
All
would
right. Let's
definitely
go
factor in.
200 then instead of 150 to account for the
Yeah.
extra risk. There you go. $176 a month. Remember, this is the cash flow that we get after accounting for putting away $270 a month away for maintenance,
Mm.
repairs, and things like that.
Yeah.
So the only caveat for this is that you need 20% down plus closing costs, so you need 117,000 of capital to acquire this. But
Yeah.
you invest this kind of money, you get a cash flow positive asset that's hands off, passive with a property manager, and with these returns, you're looking at just over 28% return. So pretty good in my opinion. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
and I mean, yeah, so I just did the math here because I was curious. Just with principal paid on and cash flow alone, it's kind of a 5.9% return on an annualized basis. The reason I looked is I just got the call from RBC today, so they were offering the best deal they could give me was a 4.75 GIC. So,
There you go. So
uh,
even
yeah,
assuming 0% appreciation,
yeah,
you're still beating the best GIC out there
correct. So
that
maybe
you were
there's better
offered at least.
GICs out there, but I don't know if they're gonna
Yeah.
beat 5.9. So,
Exactly. And then with appreciation in mind, that's where the real returns are
yeah,
made.
100%, 100%.
Okay. And then obviously what's cool about this is that if your long-term play was to turn this to some kind of development deal, in the meantime, because that could take quite a while. You might have to rezone, get minor variance, do a
Mhm.
bunch of stuff. That could take, year or two even, right?
Yeah.
Well, what's good, but the good thing about this property is that you're cash flow positive this whole time, right?
Yeah, that
And
is
then when
good.
the time comes, you can tear it down and build whatever you need after you have all the approvals. And in the
Yeah,
and you're not stressing about it in the meantime because you're making money this whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
All
the
right.
big thing. And another thing, especially buying it right now, going into, the winter and Christmas season, that
Mhm.
not having to carry that vacancy trying to find tenants and not having the tenant placement expense to it'll be massive.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. We'll move on to the next one. This was pretty straightforward. It's just you buy it, you rent it, you make money. That's it, right? Nothing too complicated about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I like to keep it simple. But for those of us who are a little bit more adventurous, we're gonna look at this property here. Oh, this is 12 Village Drive. Did you look at this one already yet, Ribhu?
Not in detail. I know I talked at
Okay.
high level. But it looks super interesting because of the whole, multi-floor setup.
Yeah.
And it's a great location. Again, it's a great location.
Oops. So just to open things up, so this property is what we call a 4-level split. So you're going to see on this property here that there's effectively 4 half floors on this property. You have a floor here, you have a floor here, you have a floor here, and then you have a floor here, which you don't see a photograph, but there's windows on this side as well. So there's effectively 4 stories, each of them being half of the size of the house. And what's really interesting about multi-level splits is that there's often a lot of stairways that you can play around with for multiple entrances, and usually there's a walkout as well. So there's a lot of different ways you can play around with this.
Mhm.
So here's what it looks like. Inside, it looks like even as a single family, you'd be looking at some cosmetic renovations.
Yep.
Carpet.
Yeah, very simple stuff though, because it doesn't
Oh
look
yeah,
like it's that old. So like everything looks
no,
like in pretty good shape.
it's
Yeah.
it looks in good condition. It's not. It just looks a little
Yeah.
dated because of the
Just modernize
carpet
it
and
a
the
bit. Yeah,
wallpaper.
100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you'll notice here that it's actually the whole place is heated by baseboards. Okay,
Okay.
so that simplifies things when it comes to like ductwork, fire
Yep.
separation.
Yeah.
Also makes it easy to split the heat really easily, right?
Sure.
Yeah, that's what this place looks like.
Yeah, the kitchen, yeah, everything looks in pretty solid shape. Just a nice build a
I just
great
paint.
finish.
I would just paint this and put new countertops.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the standard, right? The Vesta
Yeah.
special.
The investor special, yes.
Yeah. All right. And so you're probably wondering how the hell do you make this a triplex, right? The layout's probably the most confusing part. So this is what the lowest level looks like, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is the lowest level.
Yeah.
Uh,
I won't lie, when you sent this link to me, I was so confused until you sent me the actual layout drawings.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the walkout into the lowest level. This, you go in there and it goes here. And that's what it looks like from the outside. Pretty cool property. It's in a really what would you call it? West Park Village is what they call it, this area, or
Yeah.
Parkdale, some people call it.
Yeah. So
It's a pretty nice spot.
what I really like about it too is especially if you're gonna convert it to a triplex and the type of tenant that you might want, it's like steps away from College Street and Sydney Street. So you're on major bus routes. You're more on
Yes,
the west end, so you're closer to the college, you're closer to the base. Like it's pretty accessible in terms of public transit, which is nice. Because public
absolutely.
transit stuff in Belleville, so this is one of the few spots where I think, you'll get some good access.
Exactly. And of course, you're going to have to widen the driveway to make parking work, right? But
Yeah,
luckily,
fair.
there's room here to make that work. All right.
Yeah.
So here is the floor plan that was provided by the listing agent. Thank you very much, Carla. So
Might want to
based
zoom
on
in a
this,
bit there, George.
you
A little
want
hard
to
to see.
zoom in? Yeah.
Yeah, there
Okay.
you
There
go.
we go.
Yeah.
All right. So this here is the main floor. Oh, to make things clear, I'm gonna label the floors. Okay.
Mm.
The lowest level, which is this level behind the bush here, I'm gonna call that floor 1. This one, the next one up, is gonna be called floor 2.
Mhm.
This one is gonna be called floor 3, and this one's gonna be called floor 4. So it's
Okay,
we don't get any confused. Okay.
done.
So this we're looking at is floor number 3 here. So you walk into the front door, and then you have the kitchen, living, and things like that. And then this is floor number 4. This connects with this, and here's where you have your 2 bedrooms plus a 4-piece bath. This is floor number 2, so this part connects to this part. And as you can see, floor number 2 doesn't have its own entrance or anything.
Yeah.
And then the lowest level has its own walkout.
Yeah.
So naturally, the one with the walkout, that's going to be a 1-bed apartment, right? That's the most logical way to do this.
Yeah.
And so, and this is my opinion on how the floor plan is going to work. To be honest, there's probably infinite ways you can chop this place up, but this is the most logical in my opinion. So the lowest level here has the walkout. You would remove the staircase, make that into a closet or a washer dryer space or something, right?
Yeah. While you're there, is that cold room used?
I don't know, man.
Okay.
What would you turn the cold room to if it wasn't?
I just don't want to, especially with the square footage requirements. I just don't want to keep unwanted finished square footage for this unit. That's all. I don't want to waste it on the cold room if it's not actually useful.
Yeah, I don't think so. Cold rooms usually aren't.
Cool. So I'm not going to count that in square footage in my head.
Yeah. So this could be either a 1-bedroom or a bachelor, depending how you do the layout for it, right?
Yeah.
I think you can squeeze a 1-bed in here.
Okay.
Yep. And then so that's your lowest floor. Floor 1, that's a 1-bed, 1-bath apartment. And I was gonna turn this into potentially a 1-bed, 1-bath apartment, but you're thinking, how do you get into it? It doesn't have its own entrance. So what I was thinking of doing was, when you walk in through the front door, you close this off here, so the front door goes straight down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you end up here.
Yeah.
And then these 2 floors added together is going to be the big unit, the main unit. We can either do the back door here.
Yeah.
Or we could have technically made this like you walk in and then you decide between if you want to walk up or walk down.
Sure.
And my decision was like, you can optionally convert this dining room to a 3rd bedroom. So this would be a 3-bed, 2-bath.
Yeah. 100% I would convert it to a 3rd bedroom. 100%.
Yeah.
And I think just a point to emphasize that you probably already thought through in your head. But for anybody watching, because of those square footage requirements, what George just did there by combining the top 2 floors will be super critical. Otherwise, it's probably not going to work. So good thinking there, George.
This is I'm prepared. I even pulled this up beforehand. So you're wondering, like, what the hell, Belleville triplex conversions? When is that a thing? I think it was like April of this year was when they passed it.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're wondering, how does this law make triplex allowed? So how it works is that you have your main dwelling, and then you can have accessory dwellings. And how this law is worded, that you're allowed to have 1 accessory dwelling within these permitted rules, which is technically a single detached, semi-detached, or freehold. So pretty much any property, right? Almost.
Yeah.
And you can have a 2nd accessory dwelling unit with these rules as well. So if you think about it, you have the main dwelling, 1 accessory dwelling, and another accessory dwelling. Now you have three units, right? That's how we do the triplex conversions here in Belleville. We're not actually, applying to build a triplex. We're doing a single family home with 2 accessory dwellings. That's how we're wording it, right? So the reason why Ribhu was talking about the square footage is this specific law. Where is it?
Number 9.
Here we go. Number 4. The bane of our existence.
Yeah.
The one thing that's different than, I don't think any other municipality has used this rule. I think it's Belleville specific. No one's dumb enough to do this yet. But so remember how I said there's a main unit, a main dwelling, and then the accessory dwellings. So they made it so that the combined floor space of all the accessory dwelling units must be equal to or less than the main dwelling unit. So what that means is that you can't have 3 units of equal size. The 2 accessory dwelling units added together must be smaller than the main one. So when you do a triplex conversion this way, you have to have 1 big one and 2 small ones, which is why I really like the four level split, because this floor and this floor together makes one dwelling. This floor is one dwelling, and this floor is one dwelling. Just based on how this house looks, these two added together should be the same size as these two, right?
Yeah.
And the good thing is, I mean, we can't really rely on the iGuide floor square footage, but if you look at it here, this is floor 3, is 530 interior, and 400. So between our biggest unit, we have about 900 square foot to work with, right?
Yeah.
And then you have 355 here, and this is kind of weird. Regardless, it works out. These two added together is not bigger than this, which makes our rule, which makes the triplex convergence work.
Yeah.
Okay, hope I might have lost some people with this explanation, but this is how you have to, if you want to do triplex convergence in Belleville, this rule you definitely need to respect, because this is the one rule in Belleville that's different from every other city, and you need to know this or you're going to get screwed. Like, for example, our standard bungalow conversions, right? And you're thinking, oh, I'm going to buy a bungalow, convert the basement into a second dwelling, and then we'll put a garage suite in the back. But the problem is, your bungalow, the upstairs is 1,000 square foot. Your basement is probably going to be 900 because you lose some space, right? Some stairs, and you lose the mechanical room. Mm-hmm. With this rule, your garage suite can't be bigger than 100 square foot because the two accessory dwelling units added together must not be bigger than the main dwelling. Very stupid rule, but it is.
That being said, I think it's important you do educate, because like, once you know the rule, it takes like 2 weeks to get this approved, right?
Yeah.
So it's not some long drawn out process, which is a positive thing. So, you do some of this legwork up front, and you're laughing, right? It's a pretty quick process to get approved once you stay within the lines.
The building department here is great. Like, I find most building permits, if they don't have any comments, it's 10 business days. Like, they actually get it
100%.
approved in 10 business days, which I don't think any other cities do that right now.
Yeah. Okay. Especially if you use somebody who knows the city, right?
So let's talk numbers a little bit. Triplex conversion. What are we looking at in terms of renovation funds? My estimate is at least 150 or around there.
Yeah.
And this is hiring out to a general contractor.
So you went through the property.
How did
the basement feel like? The biggest thing whenever we do basements, especially with the panel walls, was it damp? Like, what is that little black thing there at the bottom?
That's the cold room, I think.
Okay, cool. So we're forgetting about the cold room,
or the walkout, I think.
Okay,
that's the walkout.
Yeah. Okay, so it's probably just not okay.
Yeah. So it was. It didn't feel damp, but it was a little cold. But it was cold that day as well, so I don't know.
Okay, how about we say, I don't know what your thoughts are. Let's say 180 to 200. Just
I was gonna say 200 on the upper end.
You're gonna have some extra 5/8. You're gonna have some extra insulation. And just because of those wood panel walls, you don't really know what kind of insulation and stuff you're gonna find behind it, right? So
yeah, and you do save some money because you have plumbing here already.
Yeah, that's huge, especially basement plumbing.
Yeah, and you see this door here? That's the crawl space into the floor, half floor that's above it. So running plumbing on that floor would be really easy.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, just little things like this is like someone who's been through this can identify little cost savings here and there. Okay, so let's get into the numbers. This one, so most people who are doing this, you're going to be doing it as a burr. You're going to refinance after it's done, right? So 529.9, very similar price to the other property, eh?
Yeah.
And then ARV. So this is a big question. I know what you got on your triplex conversion.
Yeah.
Is it a fair comparison to compare that one to this one?
I'd probably put this one a little bit lower, because the one that we did, I think you saw it. And when you think about the renovation scope, it was pretty much a brand new rebuild.
Okay.
And they factored that in, right? So let's say So we appraised for 825. Let's say 785.
785. All right.
Yeah.
So with the design plan that we had in mind, the one that I described, what do you think is the rental income would be?
So I've been trying to do the math in my head, and I have different combinations. But let's say total rent 5,300.
53, just to be conservative, right? Just
Yeah.
5,300. So here's our vacancy. Property taxes. Oh, question: did you get reassessed after you finished your triplex conversion?
For taxes,
Yeah.
not yet, but I know it's coming. I got reassessed on one of my other properties recently, so
Just use the property taxes provided for now.
yeah.
And insurance as a triplex. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'll
250.
try. Yeah, 250 is fair.
What did you get? What are you paying? 200 for your triplex?
We're 195. We also have a lot of insurance at this company, so
Yeah. Also, you gutted the place, so everything is brand new, right?
everything brand new. Yeah, like
Exactly.
it was a huge rental. Yeah.
We're gonna keep the rest of this the same, and
Yeah.
considering you're gonna be redoing most of it, it'll be smart to make the tenants pay for all utilities, right? The
Yeah.
electricals, everything's electric heat, so and you're definitely gonna have 3 separate hydrometers, so they're paying for heat and electricity together with that, and you might as well do split the water at this point because you're bringing new plumbing to 2 different spots,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, 100%.
So, in the purchase, you're buying at you need 105,000 ish
Mm.
as a down payment. Closing costs, I'm just gonna say 10,000,
Sure.
and renovation we're gonna say 200,000.
Sure.
So this number here is probably what's going to be the major factor holding people back from doing a triplex conversion. You need 300 grand liquid to pull this project off, right?
Yeah.
Not a small amount at all. With that being
No.
said, it doesn't have to be cash. It can be HELOC and other things.
Mm.
But as soon as you start borrowing money to do these kind of projects, it gets a little scary when you have a setback because the debt servicing starts eating away at you, right?
Yeah, especially these days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
With that being said, if we did get an after repair value ARV of 785, our new mortgage would be 80% of that, assuming we get approved for that. Is that right? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then, so we would get a new loan for that amount, and this is so for you guys who are watching. This is an oversimplified spreadsheet. Okay, we're not accounting for the fact that the mortgage got paid down while you're renovating this place and all that other stuff. I do have a more complex calculator that I use for myself, and I can help all of my clients out with analyzing these properties. For the purpose of this, we're gonna keep it simple here. So our mortgage balance at the point of us buying it is that much. So we're gonna assume that's how much you have left on your mortgage.
Mm.
That will give you a cash return of
Look at how that worked out.
$204,000. Yeah, so you get all your renovation money back plus a few $1,000s. Nothing crazy, but I think it's a big deal because now you're all in with a triplex. Is
Yeah.
that right? No, that part's not right. I got it.
No. Yeah, I think you're pulling from the wrong mortgage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is instead of K27, I need to pull from this number.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So you're effectively getting a cash flow positive triplex that's worth almost 800,000, and you're all in at 110, 111. How much is that percentage wise?
Sorry.
You're effectively buying a turnkey cash flow positive triplex for 14% down, which
Yeah.
I think is pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
And then
I
obviously
think
with anytime with a burr, your ROI is stupid because you're getting so much money back.
yeah, and I think it's important because like the biggest risk right now, I'd say for triplexes in Belleville is the lack of comparables. So obviously we use this based off my actual real appraisal that happened. You know, even if you just say just for fun, put in 750.
Yeah, you never know, right? Because
Yeah, put in 750 because that's 100K more than what duplexes are appraising for right now. So that's pretty reasonable, and your return's still unreal.
so now your cash stuck in the deal is 140,000, which isn't bad.
Yeah,
The plus side of this is that your cash flow actually goes up a little bit because your debt servicing is actually a little lower.
yeah,
But
yeah.
overall, I think this is a really interesting thing, and I think the future, if you want to be a savvy investor, the Belleville market is ripe for triplex conversions because that little rule here, what this does is that you can't just there's no really low hanging fruit that you someone from who's does a bunch of these in I don't know, Oshawa or Ottawa, they can come over here and just apply this exact same formula because our rules are a little bit stupid here. We have a different set of rules. And if you can master this set of rule and you can recognize what kind of properties make sense with this rule in mind, you're not going to have any competition with other
100%.
investors. You're good. You're the only person who's thinking this way, and you're going to be taking advantage of it because once the word gets out and once everyone knows how to work with this kind of project, then properties like this wouldn't be surprised if they start selling for a little higher, right? Once all the investors understand how this works.
Oh yeah, it's like when
So
all the East Hill brick bungalows started just flying.
yeah, like
Yeah,
think of like 5 years ago when duplex conversions were still kind of new,
yeah,
right? No one really recognized the specific value when it came to a brick bungalow with a side entrance that goes straight to the basement,
yeah.
right?
And I think, one of those things where, like, so for myself and my business partners, where we got in at that time doing duplex conversions, we couldn't do BRRRRs as quickly just because there weren't enough comps. But then once that market picked up, like, we had some fun. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And remember, you don't have to refinance after your project's completed, right?
No.
You could very well, if you have this kind of capital and you didn't borrow any of it and you really don't have any need for doing something else with it, you can just not refinance. Then your
Yeah,
cash flow is going to be like, I think what number was that? Over $1,500, I think.
yeah,
Something
yeah,
crazy. And only refinance when you need it, or maybe if you have a HELOC, one of those combination products, the STEP program,
yeah,
you could just have it set aside. You can do the refinance. Sorry, you can get it appraised. You can get your HELOC balance raised, right? Is that how it works?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you could register a higher collateral charge on it, and you have that as an option. And yeah, you can just sit on it, even if it's just for a year or 2 years, right? Ride out that interest rate wave, have a high cash flow. You're still making massive principal pay down in addition. And then, once the market flips around and you just start seeing a lot more of these triplexes and you get an even higher value, um, and, then it's game on. Hit two or three up
Absolutely.
in 1 year, right? So it's a long
It's
game, and it's one of those things. If you play your cards right, you'll be sitting very nicely in a couple years.
there's a saying like fortune favors the bold.
Yeah,
For those of people who are thinking, I don't want to do this until I can see at least 10 sold comparables of other triplex conversions that have sold.
yeah,
Well, then this isn't the right
no,
market. We're definitely in, I would say, an immature market. It's not definitely not
for
developed.
sure, for
If
sure.
you were to do this, you would be a pioneer. But
Hmm.
pioneers tend to be rewarded because no one else is thinking like you. No one's looking out for the same properties like you, and you can pick these up without anyone really fighting you for them. And
Yep.
you look at the numbers here, we know it makes sense. And again, if you don't refinance, you can sit on it. You'll be laughing with 1,500 a month in cash flow and today's interest rates. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. That's
Can you
that's
imagine
that's a lot
refinancing when
of
interest
diving
rates are?
trips.
Yeah, like imagine you do this. Let's say you put the 300K in.
Yeah,
You don't do anything afterwards. You're just sitting there pretty, making 1,500 a month in cash flow. And then when interest rates are like 4%, you
yeah, yeah,
refinance, you get pretty much all your money back
yeah.
and
It's nice.
you're still laughing, right?
Yeah, it is nice.
All right,
So
guys. All right. Did you wanted to say something, Ribhu? Sorry.
Oh yeah, I was doing the math again just because I was just a little curious. And you're still hitting GIC rates, except you got principal paid on an equity. Sorry, I keep bashing on my RBC GIC code I got today, but it just reminds me why I'm so heavy into real estate. I don't know if that's a good thing, but here I
Yeah,
am.
but like you notice that a lot of these numbers that we see are always in double digits, right?
Yeah.
And as personally, I like to do more of the crazy stuff with the refinance, and that's
Yeah.
where you start getting triple digit returns. Where
Yeah.
so this is why I love real estate. Triple digit returns. You know, nobody does any real estate investing for less than 10% returns. I
No.
think there's a few people out there who says they don't get out of bed unless it's at least 30%.
Yeah. Oh, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard
Yeah,
that. Yeah, I
but even
mean,
some of this,
yeah.
technically for this property here, what was it, 8-10 Paul Street?
Yeah,
You don't even have to get out of bed. You just buy it and then you give the keys to a property manager.
yeah. 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 So definitely two ends of the spectrum. Great returns either way. Just depends on the risk profile for sure. But
Yeah,
some solid deals.
absolutely.
Solid deals.
So,
I still can't believe you could just buy a turnkey cash flowing duplex today.
yeah, I mean that property might need a little exterior cleanup. It looks like there's some rust on the metal and things, but I don't think it really
Yeah.
matters because these people are already inside and they're paying, and they're not gonna start paying you more because you made the outside prettier,
No, and
right?
what you could probably do as well, right, is like buy it now, kind of keep it stable for the winter, and then in the spring do some exterior cleanup, especially because of the area, increase your property value a bit. Yeah, it will be
Yeah,
good. It'll be a couple of strategic renos that won't be near 150K, probably 15.
no,
And just because of the area, you could see some big wins.
but there's people out there like I don't. It's like how are you finding cash flow positive properties in today's interest rate? Well, here you go. You just gotta dig a little deeper sometimes.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I got a question here. I got a question.
Nice.
Let me put it up on the screen here.
Cool.
How long on average does it normally take for your duplex/triplex conversions from permit application to completion? I'll answer first.
Yeah,
Permits. So from the time they actually measure it, to go on site and measure and to draw up the floor plans, it's usually from then is 2 weeks to get preliminary drawings. They usually give me a couple of options, and I pick one that I like the most. And then from there, it's another 2 weeks before they have the official drawings ready to submit to the city. Once it's submitted to the city, it's been 2 weeks every single time. And then from there, it's about 3 months.
yeah.
Assuming if you have a competent general contractor with no major delays holding you back, it's 3 months. Sometimes, yes. Yeah, usually they always finish around 3 months. What about you, Ribhu? What'd you say?
I would say actually a bit longer. So I guess including the whole
Oh,
process.
I'm talking about duplexes here only. Triplexes, I would expect
Okay.
it to take a longer.
Yeah, I would say the full process about 4 to 6 months, anywhere between there, depending on the scope of work. And I'd say that from start to finish. Um, yeah, just there's always some little thing happening, whether it be weather delays or anything like that. Let's say from an average time, 4 to 6 months. Now, if you're doing base stuff, so one of the floors is just basic, get that done in a couple of weeks. But especially if you're doing plumbing work, systems work, especially the systems work, right? That takes a bit of time. You're doing a
I
lot
noticed
of scope.
what tends to hold me back is hydrometers. Sometimes you get delayed like 2 months.
Oh, hydrometers suck. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
just, yeah, you just don't get a date for them to turn power on for like 2 months.
yeah. And then I think there's once in a while if you bought a property that was on propane or oil, and
Yeah,
even though there's natural gas on the street, getting
yeah,
Enbridge to get natural gas there can take 6 months.
yeah. But I mean, like, the good thing even with that timeline, that 4 to 6 months period, especially, you buy it now, you're hitting spring, right? Which is when the market starts to pick back up from finding tenants and
Mhm.
stuff, which is solid. So I mean, both of these, you're good with the turnkey because you don't need to find tenants in the winter. And the second one, you're gonna end up in spring, so you'll be in high season in terms of rentals.
Yeah, I think I love buying at this time of the year.
Oh, I've
You
always bought
tend
in the
to
winter. Yeah.
Yeah, you get more motivated sellers. People want to move out before Christmas, and I find labor supply to be a little bit more reasonable at this time of year. All the guys who are doing roofing, decks,
Yeah.
siding, they have to come
100%.
inside for work, right? So there's just twice. I find there's a lot more people to choose from.
Yeah, sell in the summer, buy in the winter. It's worked for me so far.
Perfect. All right, guys. We'll wrap it up here. Ribhu,
Yep.
if somebody wanted to reach out to you because they wanted to, because like for a project like this, like triplex conversion, you have to have someone who's investor minded, who's a mortgage
Mhm.
agent on your side, because there's several steps involved in this, and you have to be very uh, intimately clear with the banks and the different products out there. Where can they reach you at?
So best place is Instagram. So I have my handle right here on the screen, Rampersad Capital, for now. And then, from there, email Ribhu at clovermortgage.ca or 416-833-3431. But social media is the easiest. I'm always on there.
Perfect. And I'm gonna try something here.
Mhm.
All right.
Oh, look at that. How do I
If
get one of those?
yeah, I can add one for you later.
Okay.
And these guys, so just guys, like these properties we've shown you, they're actually available right now. So if you are interested in them, please reach out. There's my website there. My phone number, email is all available on that website, and there is a link to book a call if this is something you're interested in. And if these properties aren't the right ones for you, but there's maybe your different strategies a little bit different, or you want to look for something else, book a call with me. I'll happily help you with and just show you all the different opportunities that are available here in the Belleville market. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up here. We'll see you guys next week, same time. See you guys later.